Hello YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. If you've never seen my face before, my name is Jeremy, and I basically just talk about what's on my mind week after week. So this week, I wanted to really challenge myself and my motivation or my willpower, or lack thereof, to be honest. You see, I have a tendency to hyperfixate on a hobby or on a toy or on an activity and just kind of leave it after a week or two, which has become a problem because I invest some money and I invest like motivation on it, and then I kind of just leave it, and it kind of takes a toll on mental health, to be honest, because you kind of start to think that maybe you're not meant to do anything, which is not realistic. Everyone's meant to do something, but I know some of you out there can relate, so I wanted to take this week to really challenge myself and prove to myself that I could do it. So I decided to take each day this week and continue a hobby that I've left behind to see if I could either finish it or make a good chunk of progress on it. So let's see if I can pull it off. Wish me luck. The week off strong with some diamond art. As you can see, this is a Harry Potter one since I'm a Harry Potter fan. To clarify, I love the lore, but we don't support the author. For those unfamiliar with diamond art, it's basically a paint by numbers, but with plastic gems instead of paint or colored pencils. This is my second diamond art ever. The first one I did was smaller and still took me months to do, mainly because it's an activity that takes a lot of patience since it's about sitting in the same position for hours, staring at a canvas and trying to discern tiny numbers or symbols to see what color goes there. You'll see what I'm doing in closer detail soon, but basically what I'm doing is taking this yellow pencil-like tool and with some wax on the tip, transferring gems from the little plastic tray to where it goes on the canvas. Pretty straightforward, don't you think? The black tool I pulled out of the bag earlier is a pair of tweezers, just for fixing, and the X-Acto knife is to cut away the plastic covering for the next section. On my first diamond art, I didn't quite know how it worked, so I took the whole covering off, thinking it would take me a couple hours to finish. I was very wrong. And when I finished each day, I had to cover the whole thing up. As you can imagine, the glue didn't last long, and some of the final gems didn't stay quite as well as they were supposed to. I learned my lesson, ergo the X-Acto knife. I got a bit distracted with the YouTube videos I was watching there, but I need the distraction so I can keep going for longer periods of time. Yeah. You can't do that, you don't have thumbs. Okay. Okay. What's your plan, my dude? Gave up. He gave up. Now that Arlo decided to leave, here's a zoomed in view of the art, as promised. You can kind of see the symbols to let you know which color goes where. On the side of the canvas, there's a legend to let you know which color means what. There's some though that are crazy hard to tell apart. On this one in particular, there are two different shades of blue, almost exactly alike. One is an 8 and the other is a capital S. Who decided this? My bad eyesight and I need to have a word. Anyway, I won't make you sit with me through the whole section because one of us having to do that is enough. So here's a time jump. Wow, we did so well. Let's do another color now. Here you can see me use the tweezers to move the gems around and make them fit better. I do that because I'm low-key a perfectionist and need them to be in the exact square. But also because there's nothing worse than being on the last section at the end of the art and the last couple of gems don't fit. It's like almost finishing a puzzle and missing a puzzle piece. Might as well destroy it and ship it back because what's the point? Here's another time jump and color switch for another shade of yellow. I'm not sure you can tell, but I am finishing the Slytherin serpent's tail on the right side of the shield. I've done so much and this is still the first small section I cut off earlier. I haven't started a new one yet. This is why I said that it's hours of doing the same thing over and over and over. There's my mess, and these are my companions, being very supportive right now, honestly. As you can see, it's now nighttime. I've been at this for hours now. No one has heard from me. I am lost to time now. Tell my family I love them. Moving on though, I skipped to the last section I did today, but off camera I did about 4 sections in between. We are now at the head of the serpent. The end is so close yet so far, but at this point I could not feel my legs anymore and it felt like someone was stabbing me in my back, so that was enough for today. And here is the finished look, and a slight shot of the canvas in its entirety. It's almost the size of me, which is not saying a lot, honestly. This square is what I did today, which doesn't seem like a lot, but oh well. Time to go to sleep so I can start my hobby for tomorrow. Bye! On my second day, I decided to do what I thought would be a shorter hobby, since I was almost done with it. I was only missing the legs, the tail, and the spots, which makes it hard to understand why I didn't just finish it, honestly. As you have probably figured, this is a little crochet project. My first one ever, in fact. This is a Wobbles kit, a company that sells starter kits for crochet. Not sponsored. I took all the tools out of the bags, as you can see, and realized I had already finished one of the legs. So really, I had 3 legs, the tail, and the spots to make. Again, why didn't I just finish it? I got this for my husband as a Valentine's Day gift, I think. I got a Brachiosaurus named Wally for myself and gave him a Stegosaurus named Phoebe, which are our favorite dinosaurs respectively, in case anyone was wondering. It was meant as a couple's activity since he had shown interest in learning to sew and create clothes for cosplay. Before anyone comes for me, I am aware crocheting and sewing are not the same, I just thought it would be fun to do together. However, my husband is a big tall man, so the detailing of the strings and the knots and the stitches was a bit complicated for his bigger hands, which I did not consider. That was my bad. We still enjoyed doing it together, but neither of us finished our little dinosaur. That is, until today. I started working on the legs, but as I tried to figure out where I left off, I realized I had completely forgotten how to do anything. I had to rewatch and skip between videos to even understand what a simple stitch was and how it was different from an increased stitch. Shocker. You would think that this one training I got for a couple hours a month prior would still be in my head, clear as day. As I started watching the videos and making the legs, I started remembering why I stopped the project back then. It was very frustrating. If you lose count of your stitches, you have to start over. And as someone who forgets a lot, this happened quite a bit. I restarted about 3 times, screamed a lot, and scared my cats. They were very concerned for me. But I kept going, refusing to let a ball of yarn and stuffing get the best of me. And after a bit, I was finally done with the other 3 legs. Now it was time to attach the legs. It was attached the same way the neck had been, which I still remembered how to do, so it was much easier to figure out than the last step had been. I was done pretty quickly with that, thankfully, since I was starting to lose the motivation to continue. Honestly, the fact that I couldn't watch anything on TV to distract my brain, since I had to watch the tutorials and follow along, was messing with my focus a bit and making the passing time very noticeable. And it was very slowly passing. Finally, here's me celebrating attaching the front 2 legs, and before long, I had a 4-legged child in my hands. Now it's time to make and attach the tail. This took a bit, as you can imagine, since it's much bigger than the legs, but it was somehow easier. The only downside was that I had to learn a brand new stitch for this almost last step, and my brain was running out of space for crochet terms. I literally learned the stitch, did the tail as quickly as I could, and pressed delete on that stitch in my brain. Arla was there giving me moral support in these trying times. Mia just wanted to play with the string, so she was unfortunately not allowed in the premises. I think she was just jealous of the growing love between my new reptilian child and me. Was I losing my mind at this point? Maybe a little, but the stuffy was getting done, and that's all that mattered in this moment in my life and for this challenge, so we take a win when we get them. I constantly checked my stitches, refusing to start again because if I had to undo this tail, that would be the end of the day. Not just a hobby. I probably would have just climbed into bed and checked out until the following day. But luckily there was no need for that because everything came out as it was supposed to. Once I had the tail done, I stuffed it with a bit of cotton and attached it the same way I had the necks and the legs. So I was an expert at this point. Although as I started putting it on, it did not look like the picture. Nothing honestly looked like the picture, which was very discouraging. I'm unfortunately one of those people under the very unrealistic assumption that I have to be good at something from the get-go, especially if it has instructions with videos for me to follow. There's no way this thing I'm doing for the first time ever will not come out perfectly. At this point, my husband had gotten home and witnessed my decreased sanity. So when I attached the tail and it didn't look quite right, I won't lie, he had to give me a small pep talk before I could continue. But at least Wally was proud of me. We had arrived at the last step, the spots. They were relatively simple, which low-key felt like the crochet was making fun of me for crashing out a couple minutes earlier. I locked in and focused on just crossing the finish line. The sun had gone down once again on me, mocking me. I quickly did all 3 and attached them, feeling like I was sending an assignment I knew was not my best effort, but at least it was done and sent before the deadline. And after many hours working on it, my creation was done. I had finally finished Wally and could mentally start preparing for the next hobby tomorrow. Yay. This day felt like I was digging up a chest I had hidden deep in my closet when I was dusting it off. I had started a different challenge almost 3 years ago in May of 2022, where I would be watching every single Disney and Pixar movie ever made, or at least the ones that are available online, and draw something inspired by said movie. I had already done 12 of them, but stopped around a year ago, not finding the time to do them. And to be honest, the first Disney movies are not exactly exciting, so watching them was starting to feel like kind of a hassle. I had gotten a bit behind on my chores this week, so I decided to do them at the same time and watch the next movie while I folded my laundry. I put in the movie and started, but something seemed off. I was watching an 80s movie when I was pretty sure I was still in the 60s of Disney's cartoons. After a few minutes, I searched up the list and noticed I had confused the Black Cauldron with the Sword in the Stone, and switched to the correct movie. To be fair, I haven't watched either movie completely and always confuse them. You have my permission to berate me in the comments. I am not sorry for the confusion. Anyway, laundry passed by pretty quickly with the movie, which was nice. Honestly, not what I expected from the movie. I think I had started it once before and either got bored or distracted and stopped watching it. If I'm being honest, I thought Madame Mim was a bigger part of the plot than she was, and was severely disappointed to find out she was barely in it. It's all about the boy and the wizard, which, listen, it makes sense. It's called The Sword in the Stone, not the Hag in the Forest, but she's low-key iconic, so I just wanted more of her. Anyway, after the movie was done, it was time to get to work on the drawing. The reason I started this challenge was because when I was in high school, I used to draw a lot of Disney animation and had gotten pretty good at it. However, a couple of years ago, I had tried to start a route into animation and discovered that the talent did not translate to digital art. Something about an iPad and an Apple Pencil took away all the control I had in my drawings, so it felt like I was starting over when it came to drawing. So in order to practice, I decided to do this challenge. Do I like my drawings by the end? Not particularly, but honestly the purpose is to practice and get more comfortable with the media, which is more popular nowadays, so I don't stay behind. I know you guys can't really see the drawing, but I found it really difficult to angle the iPad towards the camera and draw, so I focused on drawing. If you'd like to see the actual video of it though, I post them on my artist TikTok at Pocketful of Andrea. There, you can see the challenge pictures thus far, including this one, which is already uploaded. You can also follow along and see the rest of the movies, which I will be adding. Let me know when I finally reach your favorite Disney or Pixar movie. From this drawing, in particular, I will confess I was going to cheat a year ago and not watch the movie, just make the drawing. I remembered Madame Mim, so I figured out what to do and was going to do just that. However, since it is for a new challenge and I'm trying to actually do the things I've abandoned, the whole point of this challenge, I told myself I would actually watch the movie and select a scene for it. This was when I noticed Madame Mim is not as important as I previously thought. Honestly, I thought she was like Cruella in 101 Dalmatians or Madame Medusa in The Rescuers, the villain? And she kind of is, but she's honestly a nuisance for like 10 minutes and then she's quickly defeated. Honestly, she didn't even try to kidnap the boy from Merlin. Like, girl, take some pride in your craft. Anyways, with that option out of the way, which Listen, I still could have drawn her, but the idea is that the drawings kind of encompass the feel of the movie for me, so it couldn't be her. I decided to draw Merlin and Arthur. First as fish, then as squirrels, and finally Arthur as a bird. You'll see on the drawing that I also drew Arthur as the king, and he looks super sad, but listen, I followed the source material, and by the end of the movie, he is very anxious about being king and wants to run away. Merlin just gaslit him into staying. Just saying. This is a really long tangent, but I feel like I've made some good points and that this breakdown was necessary. It has pretty good songs though, and I love Archimedes. That's the owl, that's Merlin's sidekick, I guess, but he's my spirit animal. He doesn't give a crap. And honestly, I'm pretty sure he wants Arthur dead, but at the same time he does it. And he does everything he can to save him, many times. Pretty much, Archimedes is the hero of this movie, just saying he should be the king of England, but he is an owl. Anyway, with that, another movie is in the books, and hopefully I can keep this up because it would be fun to actually finish the challenge. Although, I'm pretty sure since I started the list, there's been more movies, and I haven't updated the list, so I might actually never finish, which is fun, I guess. But I mean, I'll never complain about watching Disney movies, even if the latest ones haven't been great. But look, my husband just came home. Isn't that fun? And Arlo, always there with me. But yeah, I finally uploaded up to TikTok, and you can watch it over there. And it's time for the next day. Bye! Can't see the actual sweater.
Boom.
Espérate, no te muevas. What you just saw is my beautiful and amazing husband modeling my latest needlepoint, which I made upon his request. I started needlepoint, I want to say 5 years ago, with one of those needlepoint starter kits that were basically a paint by numbers, but with needlepoint. Listen, I do a lot of paint by numbers. I don't know what to tell you. But after that one, I think I did 2 more things with the upcoming years, some gifts for family, and then never touched it again. I even bought that hoodie my husband was wearing to make exactly what's on it, obviously with nothing on it, about 3 years ago, and just never made the needlepoint on it. I ended up just giving him the jacket so he could use it. So when I was looking for hobbies to pick up again, my husband suggested I could do another needlepoint for him, aka tricked me into making him more anime merch. Also, trigger warning, do as I say, not as I do. Do not use your laptop screen as a tracing board. But anyways, back to the hoodie story. So last year when we just moved here, I was feeling very overwhelmed by all the changes and being at home. So to distract me, my husband asked if now that I had the time, I would do the appa that I meant to do for his jacket, and I thought it was a pretty good idea. It was honestly really exciting, and it's the best needlepoint I've ever done. Out of the 4 I've done, come down. And obviously, he absolutely loved it. He wears it every chance he gets. So it was a no-brainer that he would get the next needlepoint as well. Aside from the fact that I couldn't think of anything I wanted to needlepoint for myself. So I asked him what he wanted, and he sent me what I just showed you. But I can post a picture. Which for the people who know, you know. But if you're like me and you're not an avid anime watcher, or an anime watcher at all, this is from Full Metal Alchemist, one of his favorite animes. Before he feels attacked though, it's not in his top 5, just one he really likes. I have not been trained to say this. Anyways, I got working on it right away. It seems simple enough, but is it ever? And luckily he wanted it pretty small because apparently it's very small in the anime. I'm still unfamiliar, I only follow my clients' orders. It took me a good amount of hours to finish it, and this is the kind of hobby where I won't stop until I either finish or I crash. In this case, both kind of happen, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Luckily, it was just one color, so there wasn't any shading to figure out, and I didn't really have to switch string in the middle of it, just replace it when I ran out. This is also kind of cheating because it wasn't really a hobby that I had left unfinished. Instead, I started a new project. But hey, I finished and I hadn't done any of this year, so I think it should count personally. It was really satisfying to make this needlepoint, honestly, because the shape makes it so the lines all connect, which gave it a finished feeling that released that happy drug in my brain. I worked non-stop on it with a meal break until I finished it at around 6 a.m. Listen, Linda, listen. I couldn't stop. I needed to finish it. I'm sorry. My husband already expressed his disappointment in me. Remember, I sleep when the sun is out. It's all okay. Plus, it looks great. Look at you caring about me. Aren't you the sweetest? Anyway, once I was done, he wanted to wear it immediately, which he unfortunately couldn't since I had to take the backing off in water and wait for it to dry. So he has not worn it yet, but hopefully he will soon. Maybe not to work though. Not gonna lie, it's giving pentagram. With more sides. I know geometry. At this point, I was lying back in bed. I had been in the couch pretty much the whole week, if you hadn't noticed. But I finished this one in bed because my back was starting to hurt out of all the activities I'd done that week. I've been sitting in the couch the whole day, every day, doing like very meticulous work, bending over and very focusing, and my spine was not great. So I just lied down in bed to finish this, and I was watching Bob's Burgers, shout out. Anyway, I was finishing it in the bed. My husband was snoring right next to me, which made me even more excited about it because I knew that as soon as he woke up, he would have it. So the ideal scenario was that I finished it and then I had time to take off the backing before he woke up. So when he woke up, it was hanging to dry, but I didn't have enough time. So I finished it and I kind of just gave it to him in the morning. And yeah. This is the finished product. Hope you like it. You might be wondering why you're not seeing anything for Friday. That is because I didn't do my hobby for Friday. Apparently, doing hobbies each day was too much for my body, and I overslept by 4 hours. But hey, you win some, you lose some. Am I right? And here we are at the end of the week. Even though I wasn't able to do everything this week, I am kind of proud of myself that I was able to do most of them. 4 out of 5 is not that bad. And I even finished some, so if anything, I've proved to myself that with enough motivation, I can do these things. I just need that one push, you know? My goal is to at least keep some of these up. For example, the drawings. I'd really like to continue doing that because I started that challenge, I would say 2 years ago, and I'm not even halfway through it. And it is what's maintaining my drawing TikTok. So hopefully I do upload more of those. You can follow me on there if you want to see them. It is Pocket Full of Andrea. You can also follow me on my main TikTok if you want to, but I don't really post much there. I'll probably post snippets of YouTube videos and stuff, but if you want to follow me, these are the links and you're welcome to. I am kind of bummed I didn't get to do the Friday one. Like I said, I just kind of slept through it. I was exhausted from the week, apparently. My body just shut down. But I do have to get on it because I do have to read and edit my book so I can finish it. But hopefully I can do that soon and finish and continue with the publishing journey. But if there was a second lesson in this, is that you don't have to push yourself too hard and that it's okay to rest and take a day off. You don't have to do something every day. You don't have to be productive every day. You can sleep and you can rest. And you just pick it back up when you do have the energy. So don't push yourself too hard. I did, and my body just said no. My body decided for me. So hopefully this motivated some of you to pick something up you've abandoned. And maybe not try it for a week, but maybe pick it up and see if it still sparks joy, you know? Shout out to Marie Kondo. Anyway, that's it for my video this week. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you did, please like and subscribe if you'd like. And I hope to post something next week, but I do have family coming, so I don't want to promise anything that I'm not going to be able to do. Hopefully I do, but if I don't, please look out for my video the following week. Hope you have a beautiful upcoming week, and see you guys on the next one.